The woman's reproductive journey is never a straight line. From periods to pregnancy, to childbirth to postpartum, to childcare, there are so many bumps in between. So let's talk about it. My name is Olufumi J, and this is the Me and My Girls series, where we discuss everything women's reproductive health. This is for you as a woman, young or not, with kids or child-free. Get your girls to come watch with you and enjoy the episode.
Today, we're having a very, very special guest on the podcast today. I've known her for like a year, I think. Yeah, for like a year. I remember the first time I had sent her a message. I was like, oh, Kike, my life is about to be over. I'm doing this. I was like, oh my God. And she was so warm and, very, very loving. And then we had done one or two things together as well. But today we're here for something absolutely, absolutely different. But before I allow her to introduce herself, we're going to play a game. So you're going to pick a number from 1 to 10. Which one's your favorite? What's your favorite number? But yeah, you should start from there.
I don't have a favorite number. I'll say 10.
10.
Because we're 10.
Okay. What childhood memory still inspires your life?
What childhood memory still inspires my life?
You have to speak into the
I think just a lot of family time. Growing up, although I spent most of my time in boarding school, at least at the holidays, I would remember us just playing as a family, spending time as a family, bonding as a family, from play fights to real fights. My brothers, I was the only girl. So as you can imagine, and then I had twin brothers and then the last brother. So just being at home and just enjoying being a child, coming out, riding our bicycles. We don't see a lot of that these days. So yeah, that's, those are some of the childhood memories that inspire me. So I try to replicate that even now.
I see it.
With my daughter.
Yes, yeah. I see it. Because both of you even twin together.
Exactly. And that's part of
together.
it. So, I had twin brothers. I have twin brothers.
Okay.
So growing up, they were always matching. Always from head to toe.
Are they still matching now?
No. So of course, now that I have my own twin in quotes, I just want to twin and wear the same thing with her every single day.
Do you think you would have done it if it was a boy?
I would have still found a way of doing it somehow. Maybe color coordination or something, but I would have definitely still found a way of doing it. So yeah.
Do you want to do one more?
One more inspiration.
You want more question?
Okay, yeah, I can. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're out of 10. So between 1 and 9.
7.
Would you rather be the funniest or the smartest person in the room?
Don't have to pick one. Can't I be funny and smart? Actually, it depends on the setting. If it's like somewhere like here, I'd rather just be the funniest because it's vibes. I'm more vibes than academics, to be honest. So yeah, I think vibes. So yeah, funny.
Because there's this thing they say that when you walk into a room, strive not to be the smartest person.
Because you might be seen as
arrogant,
and
then you might be chatting a lot of air, like it's not making sense.
So it's funny, at least good vibes. It's better than smartness.
Thank you for being a good sport in our game.
Yay.
So we're gonna dive into it. So here's the thing: when a woman gets married in this part of the world, I think in most parts of the world, it's like your life. Oh no! When you get married, when you're born as a female, your life is already planned out for you. As you are growing up, dolls, maybe, I don't know if some people didn't play with dolls, but maybe you were sent to the kitchen on time to start cooking, or you clean after your brothers or your sister. You're start doing things that are womanly, like, because there's that, is this how you're going to take care of your husband? I mean, I had that. My mom was always in your husband's house. Now I'm like, huh? Like, that was just bad. Because I have a brother and I have a sister, and both of them literally got away with everything. I was the one. I started making fufu.
You're the first?
I'm the first. So I started making fufu. I started making fufu at age 10. I can make fufu from scratch.
Wow.
Like, I can turn it on the table. You get? So it was plenty of that preparation. And then when you go to school, and then when you come out of university, it's like, the people that said, don't play with boys, are like, so where is the man that you're supposed to marry? Then, okay, you finally get married. And then there's now the pressure of children. And honestly, is the most annoying thing ever. Because it's like, when do you now get to be you? When do you it's like your identity is tied to that. So I'm sort of aware of your journey, right? I think the first time I knew about your journey was when I started following Jan Gidi, maybe 2014.
Okay.
And I had bumped into one of the there was a post, I'm not sure it was a story or a post, where it was your baby shower, or maybe Anu was one, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So I clicked, I mean, who doesn't like this? You just be clicking and be like, what's the story here? So I got and I was like, oh, this is really, really, really interesting, because I know that you and Amma had started business together, and next thing, like, so I looked at the ages of her children and I'm like, oh, you're just getting, I'm like, oh, okay, again, it's just like, I feel like you're like that.
Just keep
so
clicking.
yeah, so just walk us through that journey. Oh, I'm sorry, I just realized that we didn't introduce you. Please introduce yourself before we now get to it.
Okay, my name is Kike Lagunia. I'm co-founder of Jantigidi Worldwide. We're a one-stop logistics firm that eases cross-border flow of goods into, within, and out of the continent. So yeah, what else should I say about myself?
You're a social butterfly.
I'm a social butterfly.
Her stories are alive. I remember when I was pregnant, that's why I used to get on my life.
I just like having a good time, and of course, trying to balance everything: work, home, being a wife, being a mom, and obviously being a good business partner and a good boss, and just being a good person generally. So yeah, just good vibes, basically. Exercise, try and eat right, etc., etc.
Exercise. Yeah, she's always exercising.
Yeah. It's the gym a lot.
Okay, so let's so we have fast forwarded, let's now get back into it. Yes, past and future I've met now. We're in the present. So like, walk us through your journey, like getting married, and then first year, second year, no show. Like, what was that about?
Okay, so yeah, I got married in 2013, and immediately, already before I even got married, I already knew that I would want to enjoy my marriage first before then having a child. So I had agreed with my husband, Fola, who's super amazing guy, super supportive. So we had a conversation about waiting at least a year. And we did. So we waited for at least a year. And then the second year, immediately I got pregnant. I was like, okay. And then I lost the baby really early on. It was at like 5 or 6 weeks. I had noticed that, in fact, I confirmed I was pregnant, did a whole surprise, and it was around our anniversary. So, no, it was around Valentine's / our anniversary. Our anniversary is February 10th and Valentine's was February 14th. But I lost the baby on the 12th of February, so right in the middle. I had noticed that I was in pain, went to the hospital. They said, I was fine. I should start taking iron tablets or whatever. And a few days later, of course, I lost the pregnancy. So that came as a shock because, as you've said, things were planned in life. Like you go to school at this time, come out at that time. And then now childbearing seemed to be a challenge. And I remember when I was working, somebody had said, try and do it in a hurry. As soon as you get married, try and have a baby. I know somebody that tried to wait or plan a certain time, and when she was ready, nothing was happening. I was like, is that what is now happening to me? So those kinds of things that you allow feed your fear, And so I had to just get a grip. And at that time, it was really, really, really hard. Losing that baby, my husband and I just said, okay, maybe we're not ready. Maybe it's not the right time. At least it happened. So at least we know that everything is okay. And then all of a sudden, it seemed like everything wasn't okay because I wasn't getting pregnant again. So, months down the line, or maybe in fact years. So you can imagine now it was becoming a problem. The first year when nothing was planned, we're living life. And the good thing is we were able to bond as a couple. So that first year was us getting to know each other better, bond, become each other's, best friends, exactly. And then when this thing happened, of course, it was there for me. We're there for each other, trying again. Every month the period would come. And then we had periods where I was the weak one at first. So when I see the blood, I'm like, hey, God. And then the way your body works, I think when the body knows that you want something, it will now delay.
Yeah.
So your period will be like 5 days later. I'm like, the minute you do that pregnancy test and it's negative, blood starts coming out. So
Me and My Girls is brought to you by Fertility. Our mobile app helps the girlies manage our health on the go. Click the link in the description below or scan the code to download the Fertility app today.
I just realized that I can't keep doing this. And then I would cry once the blood, and then he's encouraging me like, okay, it's not a big deal. Don't worry. It's going to happen. We're okay. And I think I'm grateful for that because I've seen him at our worst and seen how We were able to work together through it. And another thing I'm grateful for, I've mentioned a lot of things I'm grateful for. Another thing I'm grateful for is the fact that we didn't have pressure from family members. Because I know that that's one thing that can break up a home. Exactly. No matter how tight they are. So we're grateful that from his side and my side, there were concerns, but nothing in terms of pressure.
Wow.
So that was how the journey went. I got pregnant again, and then another loss. I was like, so yeah, that was the second loss. And then, there was a huge gap between each pregnancy. So that also concerned me. But then I'll do a check. They said everything was fine. And then I just didn't want to push and we both got checked. We were fine. But then we got pregnant again. This time, the baby was okay. So I said, okay, let's get treated properly. So when I got pregnant, I was going for daily shots. Or maybe, I don't remember.
Progesterone?
Progesterone. Yeah, so maybe not daily, maybe every 3 days or something. And me that I hate injections. That's one thing I can't stand. I hate injections. So I was going for these shots. And the baby was okay. It was growing. But it got to a point where it was like you are feeding something that isn't going to be viable. So the pregnancy was there, but the baby stops growing. So at the point where there should have been a heartbeat, there wasn't any heartbeat. But of course, through this entire journey, I was holding on to God. I was like, God, you've put this child in me. I was on my own. It had gotten to the point where I was like, you know what? If God does this thing for me, fine. If he doesn't, or at his own time, it will be done. And I kind of took my mind off pregnancy. I had friends around me. We had a close circle of friends who obviously all had kids. In fact, we were on like number 2, number 3, and we're still there lacking a child. But I didn't feel empty. We made sure that at that time we supported our friends through their pregnancies, through their baby showers, through their birthdays and all that, and just rejoiced with them while they were celebrating for what we wanted. We didn't have it, but you can't hold it against somebody else, for them having a blessing that you currently don't have. Exactly, so we had to be conscious about just being ourselves, enjoying ourselves as a couple, and being there for our friends. So this particular third pregnancy, I now went to the hospital. They said, they can see that the thing is collapsing, the sac is collapsing or something, so we have to get rid of the baby. So the baby didn't come out by itself. I had to now take medication. So that was the one that I think broke me. That broke me. The fact that it didn't just go on its own, but I had to now physically take it out and watch the child come out. That really, really hurt. And I was really angry with God. And I would just try pushing myself, just pushing and pushing and pushing. And then I stopped going to church at that time because I wasn't going out because, of course, I was still going through this process. So the first time I got back into church, you won't believe the message that the pastor spoke. He says, you're here, you're angry at God. I was like, hey, God, I'm not angry again. Why did you have to send this man to me? Sorry. That you think that God has done something wrong to you. You think you are the one that should be forgiving God. I was like, okay, I just let it go. I think I needed to hear that word that day. And since then, I was like, strong on this. God, whenever you say it's going to happen, it's going to. And I literally just poured myself into my marriage, into my friendships, into work, and just being me. So back to what you said about being you, there's no time for you to be you. That's when I found time to be me. Sorry if that was a long story. So yeah.
Do you want to get me in?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah.
I'm just like wowed at the story because there's so many similarities even in my story.
Okay.
Like when you said you were angry with God, I'm like, yeah. Because you're just like, okay, I'm a good person.
Yes.
I do good things. I love people. So like, why is this one not happening? And there's so many lessons to get from like this brief story that you've said. First of all, thank you for sharing the story with us. Like, I'm really, really honored by this. Is the support of your husband. Like, a lot of people think that when there's a miscarriage, a pregnancy loss, the husband doesn't have any idea about what's going on. I remember that happened with mine, my first one. Like, I pushed him away. I was like, I beg. Like, you cannot understand the loss. Like, so I'm happy to hear that it wasn't sort of like the same for you. Both of you were in the journey together. Because many people just think, many women think, and I get it, this thing happened within you. Like, you're the one that knows, oh, this my boobs are changing, oh, my body is changing, oh, I can see a little bit of a bump, oh, you're envisioning things, like this baby is coming from within you, so I can get that. The second one is pouring yourself into your friendships. I think, again, like I said, we're similar. I'm so blessed that I had the same as well. Like nobody pointing fingers to say, because you know that there's this, I don't know if you heard about this thing where when girls get married, they dump their single friends.
Yeah.
And it actually happens even in marriages. So we all got married, we're friends, and then this person, 3 people out of 4 start giving birth. Do you know that people that actually dump the 4th person
that hasn't had a baby?
Yeah, because don't bring your bad
your bad vibes
to me.
No.
So like I'm so happy to hear this, and this is for somebody who's like watching or listening. Like it's so important to immerse yourself in things that will bring you joy. That's the only way out, actually. I mean, God is a way out, but like some people, they do these things in phases. Like, I can't think about it, because I can't imagine going through like my own journey without the my friends and my support system around me. And maybe I'd push them away. I mean, I did, though. I'm not going to lie. At some point I did, because I was just like, I beg. You people are happy and you have children. Me, I'm still looking. But thankfully, they were sensitive enough to be like, Auntie, come. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
It doesn't work that way at all. Like, we're in this together, like, for the long haul. I think the 4th thing, like, the God factor, the faith factor, like, a lot of people, they are like, okay, I'm holding on to something. I mean, it might not be God for some people. It might be, their friendships that is their pillar, their core, their anchor, something that is holding them, strong to be able to go through. Because you actually can't go through this journey alone.
You can't.
You can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. I'm just thinking, I'm like, because there's so many things at every step of the way. So thank you for sharing that with us. Let's talk challenges of this journey. Like, I know you sort of like touched on it, but what were like in terms of work, so here's the thing. A lot of us, when we talk about challenges, we're always saying, I was feeling down. But how did that impact your work life? Were there mornings you just said, I can't?
To be honest, no. In terms of like not being able to go to work, no, I didn't.
Or
because
even
I was
able to like deliver on your task. Did that affect or impact you at any point in time?
By the time I had the first miscarriage, I'm trying to remember. I don't think I had started. Jantigidi hadn't started.
Okay.
I don't remember the years. Well, the first miscarriage was 2013.
No,
2014.
Now,
no, Jantigidi had started.
Yeah.
So Jantigidi had started, but it was still a side hustle. Yeah. So yeah, the first one I was in paid employment. I can't say to my employer that sorry, I can't come in today because I don't have a baby. You do understand? So you have to do what you have. You still have to show up as you. You still have to apply yourself to your responsibilities, and I had to do that. So I had to stay strong and just keep going. That's why I said like distract yourself with real life. Like,
but
with your current circumstances.
Would you have liked it if you were able to? I said this because I just remembered now. My first miscarriage, when I was pregnant, my boss had called me and said, "Oh, you're pregnant." Or so I can't, because I didn't tell anybody at the office that I was pregnant. I don't remember how he found out. And then he says, "When will you be done with your first trimester?" I said January or February. I can't remember. And he says, "Go home, come back until after your first trimester."
Okay.
And interestingly, I lost the baby 4 days or 5 days before the trimester was done. So I was just like, but it helped me it's interesting how I've never remembered that till now, because it was so good. I was home because they say the first trimester is the most important one. So I didn't have to like be jumping bus or bike or fighting on the road for transport. And would you have preferred, or would you have liked if your boss had said, let's give you a leave? Or what was your environment like saying, I want to talk to HR. On the head, HR people are really terrible people. I want to talk to HR to say, this or that or that.
For me, I don't think, I just feel like, except you have a prior history of maybe delicate pregnancies or your doctor has said stay at home, I feel like you should still show up, because at the end of the day, pregnancy isn't a sickness, so if you have a responsibility, still show up, except, so for me, my first pregnancy, I didn't think anything bad was going to happen, so of course I'm going to go to work as usual, but then knowing what I know now, maybe by the second pregnancy I would like to take it easy. So what I did, I think, was I stopped driving. So things like that, you do the measures you can, and it's still removed. Do you understand? So you can only do so much, and I think that we shouldn't just use it as an excuse to get off work. But then if your employer is lenient enough to do it, then why not? You know, take advantage of the opportunities that they that they have in your place of work. But then not just to say, oh, I just need 3 months off. No, I don't. If you don't have any health challenges, then I think you're fine to keep going.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the journey to Anu.
Yes.
Like, how did that happen?
How did Anu happen? So as I said, I had taken my mind off. My husband and I were just
Enjoying
happy
life
by ourselves. And we spent a lot of time, obviously, with our friends who had kids. So we felt like and my husband loves kids. So a lot of the time, in the down times, I would feel like I can't give him, or I haven't been able to keep a pregnancy to give him a child that I know that he really, really wanted. So he was really, you know, he's everybody's daddy, he's everybody's uncle, and he was great at it. So I just wanted to have that opportunity to give the same, for us to have our own child. I was at work, and then a friend of mine called, and she said, Kike, how far? I had a dream that you have twins. No, she said, how are the twins? I was like, which twins? And I was in the middle of something. I was like, which twins? She now said that she had a dream. And she said she had to call me that she had a dream about me being pregnant because the pregnancy before that, I didn't know I was pregnant. So I was at a wedding and I had, you know, you can have just a glass of alcohol or something. So I remember thinking, I remember telling the doctor that, doctor, I didn't even know I was pregnant now, and I had a glass of alcohol. Hope everything's going to be okay. You know, you're already panicking about everything because this was like the third pregnancy. So she said, please, that she knew that last time I drank something. So she's just calling me so that I will not drink anything this time, that she has had a dream that I was pregnant. And at that time, my period was already late. But you know how these things happen. It happens. It was when she called, I realized, wait, so it was supposed to come like maybe 3 days ago and it hasn't come. But I didn't think much of it still. I just prayed and said, God, you know, if it's the time, then I'm happy. So a few days after that, I was like, okay, this thing is still not coming. Let me go to the hospital. So I actually went, I think I did a test at home. And this time I told Fola from the beginning, I was like, let's just do this thing together. I told him that my friend had a dream. Let's do a test because this thing is...
Me and My Girls is brought to you by Fertility. Our mobile app helps the girlies manage our health on the go. Click the link in the description below or scan the code to download the Fertility app today.
I did it at home and it was positive. But you know, you still doubt, like, it can't be. And then we went to the hospital. That's where it was confirmed that I was actually pregnant.
Wow.
And I said to God that, God, this time... there was something in me that year that made me know that this time was going to stay. There were several things that happened. I found out I was pregnant on the 5th anniversary of the first loss. So I lost the first child on the 12th of February. This time, the positive pregnancy test at the hospital was February 12th as well. So I was like, no, this cannot be a coincidence. 5 years after, and then my friend had a dream. And then there was something else. Yeah, there was that year, we had a theme in church. And it was about not limiting God. And I had said this year, I'm not limiting God to how I want the baby to come. I'm not limiting God in, I just wanted to leave everything in his hands, really. I had gone to a vision boarding event. And at that vision board, of course, I was going to put a child on my vision board. But then somebody else, a friend of mine who knows the journey, she already had 2 kids. She now passed me, she cut out a family and passed it to me and said I should stick it on my vision board. And you know that she was pregnant at the time, I was pregnant at the time, and we had no idea. We had no idea. So that picture is still in the middle of my vision board of 2 kids, mom and dad, and we had our children like a few days apart from each other. So I just feel there was just this divine orchestration, you know, around it. And then one more sign. Somebody had posted on Instagram saying, tell me what you see about this year. This was January 2019. What do you think about this year? Or what are you grateful for this year? And I put a comment. You know, those kind of things, you normally just maybe read the comments and pass. That's what I would usually do. But this time I wrote a comment and said, I know that there will be visible difference. I said real visible difference. That was the same January. Of course, by February, I found out I was pregnant. I was like, God, is this how you used to do your own? So yeah, that's how Anu came. And of course, she just kept growing and growing. The day we heard her heartbeats, the guys, they didn't quite understand what our reaction was, because my husband and I lost it. Like the first time we ever, and it was loud and fast and strong. I was like, hey, God. And then
When you found out it was a girl as well.
And found out it was a girl. They weren't even sure. But at that point, I was like, see, whatever it is, I wanted a girl. And I told God over the years that I really want a girl first. I'm the first girl as well. So I said, God, at this point, whatever it is that the baby's legs were crossed. I said, see, I don't care. It might be a girl, it might be. But I was like, whatever it is, I'm going to take the child. As long as the child is healthy and is mine, so... And God still brought her. In fact, at the end, when they brought her out of my stomach, she wasn't first of all crying. Hey.
You're like,
I'm like, auntie, this is not the plan.
Like, no time for games
Next
right now.
thing, I said, I don't scream. She started crying. I don't scream. Louder. I was like, oh my God. That's what they won't understand,
No.
Even from the heartbeats to the checks. And do you know that I had no complaints through my pregnancy? Wow. Not one. Just indigestion. Something, drink anything and it will be fine. That was the only complaint. To the point that at some point I'll be asking the doctor, is everything okay? Like there's no... My bump was tiny. I wasn't putting on weight. Like I wasn't big,
Wow.
I was like, okay, maybe my nose. And then... obviously knowing my body changes and everything, but I was just like, God, like she's just the perfect gift even till today.
I'm so happy
and I pray for others that you have at the right time it would happen and it would just be in the perfect, most amazing way. Yeah.
I mean, it's such a beautiful thing to hear.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
But I want to ask, like, when the journey was going on, did you guys think about other options?
Of course. The doctor had said I should try IVF. As I said, I can't stand injections. It just wasn't for me. On social media, I would see posts about, maybe, they'll put the baby that has been born and then all the injections around. I was like, God, I wish I could, but I just can't. This is just not an option for me. And I would have done it, but for the injections and the fact that if I knew that the injections would guarantee that there's going to be a baby at the end of the day, I could have done it.
To
but
be honest,
then
there's no even guarantee.
There's no guarantee natural. There's no guarantee of anything for anything. Or if the stakes or if the possibilities were higher, if we had a higher percentage. But then I was like, I can't. And then the only one I was going to consider was surrogacy. Okay. I was very happy to do that.
Oh.
So
your husband too was okay with that?
Yeah, he was happy with that. Yeah, so maybe because I had my eggs, he had his sperm. But then the doctor had said he believes that there's an issue at the point where they meet, that it's not forming properly, that we should take it out, fuse it elsewhere externally, then put it back inside of me. That was another option aside. I forgot what that one is called. That's another option aside from IVF. I was like, we can do that, but then I just believe that it's not. Well, not that it's not that deep, but I was like, no,
based on
I want
how you were like, all these long
processes. We're looking at it, but then I was just like, okay, surrogacy just seems like the one that I would go for.
Because that's something that is not talked about. So, for instance, like, did I think about... Because, okay, so after my first miscarriage, I'd had my daughter, and then there was nothing. It was just like back-to-back miscarriages. I was like, oh, shit, well done. Just be gathering them. And it was like... Because it didn't make sense to me. Like, so I was like, okay, because I'd heard of secondary infertility, but I was like...
Oh, yeah, after you've had one child, right?
I was like, what was all this? At a point, like I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to be baby girl in my life. It.
And I was like, maybe God does not want me to be fat. I said, God wants me to continue slaying. And that, when you have to change it. It's a mindset thing. So change how you say it. So I was like, God doesn't want me to be fat. So maybe he wants me to use another person to be surrogate. So you tell yourself all kinds of things to console yourself and just to feel like at least God is still working on your case. And I knew that God was in control. I just knew.
So for me, it wasn't like I didn't think about it. It was just like I didn't see the need for it. Because I'd already said, you know what, boy, it's just me, my husband, this child that we have, I'm okay. Do you get? Do I think it would have been a different story if we hadn't had a kid at all? To be honest, I don't know. But it's not something that I'm averse to. But we know, because when I see people who've been waiting for a bit, I'm like, you do realize there are other options, right? And I'm not saying it because I don't think you can get pregnant. It's just like, look, if there's more than one way to skin a cat, like if you want to cook chicken, you can cook the chicken, you can air fry, you can fry it. Like there's so many ways you can cook a meal. Why not try it even for your life? I'm just like, Like it's same thing with even giving birth. Like you just think, oh, it's just to spread your leg and the child should come. I'm like, there's so many ways you can. Okay, there's 2 ways that you come out. But like you get my point.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that people know these things, which is why I asked if you were open to different options. I asked that because on my rainbow label, it says proceeds from it. Was it because of your current journey that came about? Yeah.
So I didn't have
not your current journey, your
my
past journey. Sorry.
Still only I know, but anyway. So it was 7 years. I had Anu 7 years after marriage. And there was a day I was at home and I already knew that I wanted to do something in fashion. I knew that I liked twinning, obviously with Anu. But then there was a day I just heard 7. And then I thought, 7, why 7? And it reminded me of, okay, it's something for kids and their parents. But how about those who don't have kids? You won't be a brand that will say, oh, sorry, if you don't have a child, you can't buy from us. Because I've been in those kinds of, not disadvantage because of lack of having a child, but just knowing that am I less of a person because I don't have a child, So I just thought it would be open to everyone. And it would represent a rainbow, or that's where the name came from, rainbow label, because I had a rainbow baby, a baby that is that you've had after losses. So rainbow baby, that was where rainbow came from. And then 7, there were 7 colors in the rainbow. I only knew that after obviously doing my research. There are 7 colors in the rainbow. And then I thought, the idea just kept coming to me, like sell pieces that anybody can relate to whatever you've gone through. So my taglines are hope, love, and togetherness. So we're doing things together, like sharing with other people. So you've gone through, maybe you've lost someone, or you've lost a parent, or you've divorced, or something, some kind of negative occurrence has happened in your life. Rainbow can still restore. Rainbow generally restores. Hope. Exactly. It generally means restoration and just showing that I would never punish you. The affliction will not rise up the second time. Things like that. Just kind of giving hope to people around. So that's where the idea of my rainbow label came in. But of course, the one I can relate to are the fertility treatments options. So that's why I thought sell these clothes and then give some proceeds to organizations that help other families that want to conceive and have children successfully.
So, what's that word? I'm trying to remember where they say the person is really giving altruism. Is it? You're being
where you're not, where you're not like living for only for yourself. Altruistic. Yeah.
That's really good. So I was 2 more questions. Because you mentioned, I had the question. You said, "Oh, it's only Anu." So what are your hopes for the future?
Well, I've already told God that I'm not on that 7-year journey with you again.
But you're not putting pressure on yourself.
I'm fine. I'm just content. I'm happy with just Anu. Sometimes she asks, my brother or sister. I'm like,
see, that's the thing. Yeah. They start asking, because so for me, when I said, no need. The moment my daughter started asking in the year 2020, she was 3.
I'm sure it was COVID when she was alone. Like, it was just you guys at home.
So by December, and so I have because like you, my friends were all very, very close knit, and then I have a friend who has 2 daughters. So she was used to the girls coming over, everybody going out, having fun, and then she just started asking. She was asking about twins, Princess and King. She gave them names. I was like, Ma, and then she kept on asking. She asked so much. I didn't know I was pregnant. I'm telling you. But then we lost the baby. So I got pregnant December of 2020. January of 2021.
Okay.
And then lost the baby in February. But I was just like, but this girl called this baby now. Like, how far? Yeah. Like, what's going on? That was the one that... Oh, no, it was the one after that I stopped talking to God. I was like, I beg, me and you, we can do this from a distance, please, and everything. So that... So afterward, she stopped saying twins and said she just wanted 1. So once they start asking, that's when I now started feeling like, she wants a sibling, because everybody that she knew had a sibling, except for
Same
her.
here, exactly.
So once they start to understand, there can be more than 2 people
in a home,
they just start something.
Where's my own second?
Exact. So right now that she has a baby brother, she's always up, mommy, my baby brother. Mommy, like, so I'm hoping that happens for you as well. I know that she's going to love it.
Too much.
She's going to love
overlove.
I can see it already. So as it happened for me, small thing to happen for you.
Amen. Thank you so much.
The last one is, so how have you been able to navigate life as a mom and an entrepreneur?
Support, basically having a fantastic support system from my husband to obviously nannies. So I just know my strength. I know what I can do and how I can manage myself. And I know that my schedule is pretty unpredictable because of work and other things I have to do. Not just work, social life. I have to have a social life. Do you understand?
Besides even social life, I think there was a time you went to, was it Senegal?
Dakar, exactly. For 3 weeks. So I went for 3 weeks. I can't travel with my daughter. She has to go to school. So I had at least I had her nannies and her dad at home.
You said nannies or
yeah,
nanny?
2. I have 2 nannies.
See, please lay hands on me. Because I was telling my husband the other day, I was like, see, please, bros, I beg, I want one more.
Yeah, because I had to see how it would work. And I tried having just one. In fact, a friend of mine had told me, Kike, you have to have 2 nannies. You have to have. I was like, why? I now later subscribe and I see the benefit because one would go on her off. And what happens? No, basically one is for is for Anu, for my child, and then the second is for the home.
For the home, okay.
So I don't want a situation whereby I was boiling water and then I did not, and then that's how the. Nah. One is focused on Anu and the second is on the home. And then, in fact, this weekend, the other one is going on. The one for Anu is going on off.
Somebody will be,
and the other one can stand
mine is going on off. She said, madam, they go off this week. I was just like,
I don't even join. I'm just like, okay. Because there's somebody else, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I enjoy from having 2 helps, you know, and yeah. So those are kinds of so that's structure, exactly. So that helps me have a structure. Like I'm here now, but I know that everything at home is good. Even if her dad isn't home, even if Fola is not home, I know that she's in good hands. So yeah, that's how I'm able to navigate.
If there's someone like who's watching right now and you're like, nanny, maybe you can't afford it, you can take advantage of your family and friends.
Exactly.
That's what I did initially, because I was like, somebody will come and live in my house. I was deceiving myself, to be honest. So like you can employ the services of your parents if you have them, or uncle, maybe trusted people.
Yeah.
Not like.
I was going to add that at the end of the day, if you can afford it, you're not superwoman. Don't go and break down and lose. There's no first position for struggle. Don't lose yourself.
I wasn't going to say for superwoman, but I like this one for struggle. There's
none.
There's no.
So just take on the help. You don't trust them. Okay, put cameras, whatever you can do. When my husband and I wanted to go on holiday, my mom came. So it was my mom, the 2 girls at home, and then Anu. So you know that everything is. Thank God for my mom. Thank God for my mom that she's around and she's able to help. So yeah, please use your family members as much as you can, and then also have help, just so you can live when I say structured or just a life where struggle-free life, and just do what you have to do, whether it's work, business, career, etc.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Again, I'm so honored.
Thank you for having me.
By this. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
I'm sure that somebody has learned, 1 or 2 things. The objective of me and my girls is basically, like I said at the beginning, like we're trying to like lift up the rug, and remove everything, because we have a culture of silence and stigma of shame. So culture of silence, like why should you tell anybody what you're going through? Stigma of shame, you had a miscarriage. Why are you telling anybody? So everybody, one of the things I've noticed is when I had the first one, everybody that had a miscarriage had never mentioned it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you think you're the only one.
But there's so many people. Exactly.
My mom had. So it was that time she was not telling me. I was not like, madam. Because she was like, Pele. I tried to encourage me and say that it happened to me. I was like, hold on.
It's more common than we think.
Because I knew about the one she had after my sister. Because I was already grown then. And she was like, I didn't even want this baby. Like, life is too hard already. But I'm like, you mean you had one before me, and I'm just hearing about it in my adult life when I'm experiencing this. So imagine all our moms and aunties that had this thing and hid it because they didn't want to seem weak. It's not weakness. So
I think back then there was more of a stigma, but now people are open about it.
We think people are open about it, but it's not that. People are still very, very hesitant. I remember the first time I spoke about it, like I had people say, why are you talking about it? I'm like, hey, God. As the way I spoke about it was the same way I had people coming to my DMs to say, oh my gosh, like, thank you for sharing. In fact, when I had this baby and I shared the story, my journey to this baby, my DMs were full of people who are currently going through this thing and are feeling ashamed to talk about it or to even tell somebody about it because of that stigma. So we think that life has gotten better. No. We're still carrying over terrible cultures from past generations, even, and we think that, oh, Alaju, we're enlightened. So like that's the whole point of Me and My Girls. Like, it's not just about fertility, it's about everything. Even periods. Oh, you can't tell somebody you're on your period because it's supposed to be disgusting. This is something that makes you it's so many layers of this thing. So we just want to thank you once again for coming on this podcast. We truly appreciate it.
I want to say one more thing, please. In the spirit of Me and My Girls, I would also like to give a huge shout out to my actual girls.
I love it.
Thank you so much for being there for us through the entire journey and still being there for us even now. So yeah, thank you so much. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
I mean, please tell your friend, if you have friends, like if you have girlfriends, hold them really tightly. Yeah. Like nothing is worth a breakup. Nothing. Hold them tightly and then share this with your friends and then you can have a watch time or whatever and then enjoy yourselves. Where can people find you?
On Instagram.
Oh, sorry.
On Instagram as Kike. My business is Jansigidi. Most importantly, please, Jansigidi. JAND, the number 2, GIDI on Instagram. And then my personal page is Kikespreneur, KIKXPRENEUR. Those are my and then my rainbow label. It's kind of been suspended for now, but I'm gonna be back and strong so that we can of course.
This tissue beside you.
It's okay. I don't want to ruin my makeup.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, till we come your way next time, it's the Me and My Girls podcast. All from J signing out. Bye.
Me and My Girls is brought to you by Fertility. Our mobile app helps the girlies manage our health on the go. Click the link in the description below or scan the code to download the Fertility app today.